Good morning, good evening, or good night, depending on what time you're watching. It's Nathan here, and it's time for my newest video. What is up there, Stealth Squad? How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, today I will be speaking about Trap. What best heroes to be using, what best formations to be using, and as you can see, what level you should be opening. Now, I believe level 1 Crazy, which is actually level 4, is the best trap to be able to open. You will deal the most amount of damage for this, which will give you the best amount of hero gear parts and hero gear designs. Now I know you will be missing out on some Eva frags, some silver and some gold, but I believe the hero gear parts and the hero gear designs are a lot more important. If you're opening up one of the low level traps, you do deal more damage, which effectively gives you more points, so you actually get more rewards. Next, we shall be going through the heroes. So firstly, we'll go through the resonated heroes. As you can see, we have obviously Wakko, Daryl, Joker, and Mikoto. Now for Wakko and Daryl, you should not be using these at all for trap. They do not do enough damage to be able to be warranted to use for trap, so I would not use either one of these throughout any of the generations. Joker on the other hand, you can use from Gen 1 to Gen 4 as a trap rally lead. When you're setting them rallies on trap, you can use Joker for Generation 1, 2, 3 and 4. On the other hand, Mikoto is very good for trap. You can use her on any one of the generations. She'll be able to deal a decent amount of damage, so you can use her no matter what gen you are on. Now, you've got to make sure that Joker and Mikoto are at least level 4, so they do get the full benefits. Of course, if you are in a new state, you might not be able to get Joker anymore, but you can still use Mikoto and still get Mikoto. Once Generation 5 comes out, of course, Joker won't be in use anymore for trap anyways, so you won't be benefiting from him as much if you are in a new state when you get to Gen 5 onwards. Okay guys, next thing we will go through is the fillers. Of course, Zoe, Sarge and Eva are the best 3 fillers. All 3 of them do have a 25% damage increase when joining rallies, which makes all 3 of them very good for joining rallies for trap. This is for trap because you're wanting as much damage as you possibly can. If you are in a newer state, you may not have all 3 of those, especially Zoe, seeing as she is a Gen 3 hero. So you can be using heroes such as Candy, Tony, and Chef, and various others, which do have a damage increase. What you want to do is you want to look at their very first ability and see if they do a damage increase. All 3 of these heroes all have a 25% chance to do 200% damage. So all 3 of these are good rally fillers if you do not have Zoe, Sarge or Eva. Okay guys, now we are going to go through the rally leads. Now for Generation 1, I would be using Chef, Maddie and Eva. The reason being is all 3 of these have some great damage abilities and are very strong for rallying for trap. Now you may be wondering why not use the legendary heroes being Lucky and Nikolai, but Lucky and Nikolai both have health and damage reduction abilities, which make it far less damage for trap. So I would stick to Chef and Eva at this point. For Generation 2, if you are going to be a pay-to-play player, then obviously you will be swapping over Chef to Wolf, and you'll be swapping over Eva to Jeb. If you are going to be a free-to-play player and you won't be leveling these legendary heroes up, then stick to Chef and Eva. You will not be changing Maddie to the new one being Trish, because Trish is also a healing hero, which has low damage for trap. So these are the best 3 for Generation 2. On Generation 3, I would then swap to Ash, Maddie, and Zoe. You may be curious why I'm still not using the Rider hero being Miho. and that is because she does have some health abilities, and I believe Maddie does do a nice amount of damage, an easy one to level up for free to play, and of course, at this point you would have already had her at a strong level. Now Zoe and Ash do great damage, so both those are really good for this generation. But when you get to Generation 4, the battle mechanics do change, and Ash does drop off. So, as I mentioned, when Generation 4 comes out, your state will be on the new battle mechanics. Ash does drop off, and Nanami does become the best rally lead for the next few generations of heroes. Julie and Tyler are the new Gen 4 heroes, and they both do great damage, so you will be wanting to swap over to these three heroes for rally leading when you're on Generation 4, if you are pay to play. If not, stick to Maddie, and whichever one is your strongest hunter hero at this time, except for Lucky. Okay, on Gen 5, there's only one hero which you will really want to be using, and that is Tweak. So on Gen 5, you will be using Nanami, Tweak, and Tyler. If you do have a max Roxy, obviously you can still resonate Mikoto to Roxy and use Mikoto. But if you don't have Mikoto, then Tyler is a better option than Roxy due to him having better damage abilities. From here onwards, you will be using Tweak for every generation. On Generation 6, you will stick to Nanami Tweak, but you will be changing your hunter hero to Luca, as Luca is the next best hunter hero for the amount of damage. Now we're at Gen 7, you would have just unlocked the Troll Squad. Now once again, you will only be changing the Hunter Hero. You'll be changing the Hunter Hero to Grim, but you will be keeping Nanami and Tweak for Generation 7. Okay guys, moving on to the final ones. It's Generation 8, Generation 9. This one you will be using Hank, Tweak, and Tina for both generations. Now, Generation 9 does not have any good trap heroes, so if I was you, I would stick to Hank, Tweak, and Tina for Generation 8 and Generation 9. Now, for the last generation, which we're going to be going through, is Gen 10. Now, I personally would use Laura, Tweak, and Arthur for this generation. As you know, Tweak has went from Generation 5 to Generation 10, so I would highly recommend you do level him to a decent strength. But for this, I would be using Laura, Tweak, and Arthur for the Trap Rally leads for Generation 10. Okay guys, now we have went through all of the rally leads, all the heroes you should be using for fillers, and all the other good stuff. We are going to be going on to the best formation I personally would be using. Now for Generation 1 and 2, you may think it looks a little bit weird, but doing the 5%, then 47.5% riders and hunters. The reason why I would do this is because you do not have enough troops to be able to do a correct formation. A lot of people will be struggling just to do one march, let alone doing up to 7 marches of a 5-30-65 formation, or even more hunters if need be. So I personally would split the riders and hunters down the middle. Now, I would also be sending just one troop inside my rallies. The reason why I would do this is because you're going to be wanting to rotate the troops throughout them 5 minutes and not have them just stuck inside your rally. You can potentially get them into 3 or maybe even 4 rallies within them 5 minutes if you are lucky. So personally, I would use that formation, use one troop in your rallies and just rotate. Once you get to Gen 3 and Gen 4, you will then start having a decent amount of hunters. So I would move over to a 5%, 30%, 65% formation to be able to get even more damage within the rallies which you are joining, and not worry so much about the riders because they do less damage and you do have a decent amount of troops now. If you do not have 4 formations, I would stick to doing one troop inside your rally, and I would be doing just filling the 3 formations in other rallies instead. Now, if you do have enough troops for formations, then I would put a full march inside my own rally, so I can save 4 formations on the right hand side. Once you get to generation 5, 6, and 7, it is better to do a 5%, 15%, 80% formation. Now you've got you should be able to have a very good amount of hunters at this point. So you'll be able to fill a lot more rallies than you could before, and you can do a lot more damage with hunters than riders. So for generation 5, 6, and 7, I would move on to a 5, 15, 80% formation. Now, when you get to Gen 8 and Gen 9, their abilities actually help you do better damage by using more inventory. So for Generation 8 and 9, I'd be doing a 35% inventory, 10% riders, and 55% hunters formation. For Generation 10, it does go back to normal when you get Laura and Arthur. So Percy, I would go back to the 5%, 15%, and 80% formation. This is my personal opinion throughout all of the 10 generations. Obviously, some people may say slightly different, but this is what I would recommend throughout all 10 generations from when you start your account all the way up until 10 gen. Hopefully this guide did help you. Hopefully you will be able to do more damage, especially if you are doing level 4 traps now. And hopefully I shall see you guys again shortly. Thank you all for taking your time to watching this guide, and I shall see you guys next time. Have a good night, guys. Much love.